Good evening. Welcome to Smart Investing with Philippe. Stay with me until the end of the video because we are starting a new week and I think it's going to be another week of craziness. I mean, you have a taste of what happened during this weekend where Donald Trump obviously gave a hint about whether he's going to give us an exemption. So with all the flip-flopping or the conflicting messages about the exemption. So basically on the 12th of April, the US Customs and Border Protection announced that certain electronics, including smartphones, laptop, semiconductor equipment, will be temporarily exempt from the newly imposed 145% tariff on Chinese import. The decision provided immediate relief to major tech companies like Apple, Nvidia, which are also heavily relying on Chinese manufacturing and raw material. The exemption aims to prevent significant price hike in the US consumer and was seen a strategic move to mitigate adverse economic impact. But suddenly, after everyone we were getting excited about this exemption, Donald Trump made a statement on his True Social platform. And he says, President Donald Trump posted True Social denying that any abroad exemption has been granted. He stated that electronic remains subject to the pre-existing 20% tariff association with fentanyl-related trade measures and emphasized no one was getting off the hook regarding the tariff. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick later clarified that electronic exemption was temporary, and he indicated that new sector-specific tariff, particularly targeting semiconductors and related electronics, were expected within the next 2 months. These upcoming tariffs are part of a broader strategy to reduce reliance on Southeast Asian manufacturing and address national security concerns. So basically, the initial exemption news led to a rally in global stock market, with a tech company like Apple, Dell experiencing significant share price increase. However, after the contradictory message from the administration, there were actually some kind of reversal into the share price increase and all the excitement about this exemption. So it's just to show you that it's never ending, all this tariff on and off. Now China wants to retaliate. They're stopping all the export to the US of critical material to build electronics, so all the car manufacturing like electric cars. I mean, this tariff and this ping pong game with China is actually bringing so much uncertainty that the market today, you would see, is pretty flat. I mean, everybody was expecting that the market would skyrocket on Monday because of this exemption, but after that, all was bringing to pieces because of Donald Trump denial. Maybe he had a lot of it from his first announcement that he will exempt all the sectors, basically that he will exempt mostly almost all the imports, so which didn't make sense because it was almost being seen by the Chinese and the world as a weak hand, and that he was actually flip-flopping and backing off from his previous stance of being aggressive against China, So we will see that this week what will happen with all these flip-flopping and what will happen with China and so on, because so far the war is still on, and this is just crazy, Anyway, I think we've seen the worst. I don't think it can get any worse than this, and the market does not fall down again. So we will see what will be the earnings seasons going on, if the earnings will be good or not. If the earnings are good, guidance are good, I think the market will continue to rally or will not plunge again. If the earnings and all the expectations of the company and the guidance are not good, then maybe the market will fall again. We really don't know. So far, we have no sign of recession, no sign of out of control inflation following the tariffs. So all of this now is all speculation. And I see a lot of videos about what Ray Dalio is doing, what he's saying, and he's warning about World War III and so on and so on. And it's not the first time this happened in history, and it was just bringing us back to the 1930s, where you have a big shift of powers, big shift of financial and monetary system, big shift of a lot of tariffs on the key big powers into place, and the new powers are trying to challenge the old powers. I mean, this is all noises, and I think we should focus on fundamental of the companies on the next 10 years, next 5 years, next 10 years, what will happen with the earnings, what will the world will be. I mean, all these trends are still intact, where regardless of all the noises in the short term about these policies and about this trade war or psychological war or war in real time, I think all this will pass. And at the end of the day, it's just like a matter of do you believe whether or not the artificial intelligence will be the future, technology will be the future, and there will be a huge jump in technological advance medical advance, everything will be driven by technology going forward. Then if you believe this is the case, then you should just invest in technology company, just select the best one, the most reliable, the most solid, and you have the Max 7 for starting, one of the most powerful companies in the world. I mean, they are just like ironclad, they are ironclad strong, you know, they can withstand so much pain, you know, they have so much cash, they are just cash machine, you know. So let's see what happened. Now we're gonna go back to the market update, and let's see what happened in the market today. And we are opening then the week. So let's start with the usual QQQ. QQQ today up 0.68. Was up much more than that, was more than 2% up, but then it retreated during the day with all the noise, with all the uncertainties. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still higher than, you see, the lows of 400. We are already 10% up from the lows. You see, up 14% up from the lows. 14% in just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. In 5 days, 14% from the lows of the QQQ. For the QQQ to go back and test again the lows, must take a lot to do that. So I don't think it will happen, but everything is possible again. But now we have seen the worst of the tariff announcement, the worst of all the ping pong with China. It will need a brand new sort of catalyst to bring the market back to the lows of 400 on the QQQ. So you see the RSI back to normal neutral at 50. So I think the volume has been very low today. You can see the extremely low volume, which shows that the market is just in a wait and see situation, but still up today, and that's the most important. So if you go back to the SPY, so the S&P 500, we are up 0.90%. I will erase that because otherwise it's very confusing. The market was up much more during the days, but we treated like the QQQ, so the Nasdaq 100. And now we are more or less, 14% or so from the lows. 14% in 4 days. Whether it's the QQQ and S&P 500, 14% up in just a few days. It's a significant increase, you know. So we should go to the point of control in the next coming days of 560, which will bring us back to the very strong support that we were supposed to have from the first legs of the market down, you know, when the market fall by more or less 10%. Yeah, that was the leg, 10%. First leg 10%, then the second leg another 10%. So the S&P 500 fall altogether 20%. So we were in a bear market both on the QQQ and the S&P 500. In less than 4 days, now we'll be back to a correction market. You see, that's why you should stay invested. Otherwise, if you had sold at the low of the S&P 500, you already missed on a rally of 14%, 15%. And it's very difficult to catch that, you know. Very, very difficult to catch that, because psychologically, if you have been hurt by this volatility at this level, you will be scared to go in there because you're afraid it will go back again down. That's a game, psychological game you cannot win. So I guess I said it many times. You have to hold on and just go through it, you know. Otherwise, the VIX significantly has been lowered, and that's a good sign also. When the VIX lower like this, was at 60, now it's at 30, so 50% down from the VIX is nothing. It's not nothing, you know. It's very significant. And obviously, if the VIX goes down, then the market become less volatile and the expectation become more stable going forward. But let's see if there are no new catalysts that's going to bring a lot of chaos in the market again. But I don't think so. Max 7 is very flat today, was up significantly during the day because we actually increased by almost 2%, 2+%, but was retreated at the end of the day. But never mind, because it's still higher than the previous 2 days. So, and you see the RSI just came to the neutral position of 50. So all in all, the volume, very, very low volume, you know. Look at this. The market go up slightly or flat with a very low volume. So that means the market just wait and see and look for direction. On the stock specific level, AMD, very flat today, 1.2%. I mean, from the lows, up 25% from the lows. Can you believe that? 25% from the lows in just 4 days. 25% in 4 days. That's why you see, these days on the lows was when the VIX was at the highest position. And if we were right historically, this would mark the bottom. This was really the bottom. So again, very difficult to argue with that. Unless there is a new catalyst, something catastrophe that happened in the market, then it could go much lower than that. But otherwise, the worst it can do is to retest the lows and then once again go up. But going lower than this, very difficult to do. Very, very, very difficult to do. I mean, you can see the setup here is a setup to go up again. This one is a first resistance will be the 55 moving average, $100, and after that we go back to the point of control, you know. And point of control is 115. That's a very significant resistance, 115. But let's see what will happen. Otherwise, Palantir, very significantly up from the lows. This one even more than that, more than 20%. Increased by 45%. 45% in 4 days, Palantir. Can you believe that from the lows? So if you bought Palantir at the highest of the VIX, you just close your eye, just say, I'm buying like crazy. You already, after 4 days, 45%. I repeat, 45%. So if any one of you is doubting about these statistics, this certainty, because these are certainties, because it's 100% of the time, when the VIX is peaking at this high level like 50, 60, is always a buy opportunity, always a buy opportunity. And there are not many occasions you can say always, the same word, always. But check in history, when the VIX is higher than 50, it's always a buy opportunity. Otherwise, IWM up 1.18%, also higher than the lows. But this one not increased so much, you know, like by only 8%. So it seems like technology and the big tech are the one that benefiting the most from the rally. So we will see what will happen in the next few days. But so far, small cap, very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Apple, as I told you, with the flip-flopping on the tariff, at the opening of the day was significantly up, touched 212, then went back to the 200 level, like, because they were flip-flopping and reversal on the narratives, you know. So let's see how things are going to evolve, like the same for Nvidia. So it just shows you that the market will favor big tech and high beta stocks when the market recovers. So if you had flipped your portfolio to more defensive sectors, more defensive stocks, you will not recover as fast as the market do. That's why when you flip and you reallocate your resources to low beta and defensive plays when you're at the bottom of the correction or bottom of a market crash or close to the bottom of a market crash is always the worst thing to do. I mean, when you reallocate to defensive is before the market crash. Then you, of course, you would outperform massively on a relative basis. But if you do it after the market crash, then you would switch to high beta to low beta and to high geared leverage or high growth company to low growth company or dividend paid company. Then you will not have the boost from the upside, you know. This is a very big mistake. I don't understand why people are saying this as professional investor on TV. We allocate to more defensive plays and those and this. No, there are rules why you have to do that or not. You have to do it preemptively. If you do it after the war or after things happen, it's the worst move you can do. Anyway, I think otherwise nothing very exciting. It's microchips hasn't moved too much, you know. Just slightly up from the lows. Not so much. 14%. It's just the same as the Nasdaq. Maybe a good idea is to sell a put at 150 to make some income. And if it's triggered, then you buy at a very low level the stocks, you know. Maybe that's a good play to do. Maybe I will do tomorrow is open a put position. So I'm going to sell a put of $14,854. And I'm going to collect income on that, you know, because I know it's a strategic support. So if I do that, let's see, stocks. So 100, what would be my limit? 150. 150 stocks. So I'll show you how you do this. Stocks, SOXX. Yes, Semiconductor iShare ETF. So 1 month from now, So the 17th of February, 16th of May is monthly. Monthly, 150. I will collect $350. $350 is 2% plus for 1 month's return. If you do that every month, that's 25% easy. 25%, 26% a year. Just by selling a put on the best microprocessor in the world. What risk do you have? You see, the volume is actually the highest here. Otherwise, they have no volume here and no volume there. So it really shows you that this is where you have to place your order for the put. If it goes back to this level, then you're happy to buy. 150. 150 is very, very low. Very, very low. You have delta of 16. It's perfect, you know. That's what I will do tomorrow. I will sell this contract for 1 month. I will collect $350 and then I will wait. I don't think the market will go back to 150. And if it does, then I'm happy to buy at 150. 150. It's very good, you know. Very, very good. Give it to me. So now let's look at the economic data, if any. So Monday, consumer inflation expectation 3.6, slightly higher, 3 months bill, 6 months bill, so nothing very important today. Tomorrow, nothing important. Wednesday, we have some retail sales number, year over year, month over month. So that's quite interesting, retail sales, to see if the consumer is actually disconnecting or not from consuming. Then you have also capacity utilization, industrial production, manufacturing production. So quite important economic data on Wednesday. Thursday, we have the usual continuous jobless claim, initial jobless claim, so the job numbers. So we will see if we see any big unemployment change or whatsoever. So again, this week will be, I think, dominating by headlines on tariff and inflation and consumer and economy going into recession or not. That will be the headlines for sure, 100%. So if you look at Bloomberg, going to the headline on the mainstream media, you can see Trump float temporary reprieve for auto as part tariff looms. Trump's again, so that's something different from the economy. Markets, stock and bonds climb after a week of upheaval. Trump's tangled tariff, slow confusions as negotiation land up. US Treasury Scott Bennett speak on Bloomberg TV. So all the headlines about tariff, about the bond market growth that we had last week, and why we have seen such a big sell-off of Treasury, and all of this, you know. But otherwise, so what I will suggest is that stay calm, you know, enjoy the lifting of the job market. Enjoy the lifting of the stock market. I don't think we're going back to much new lows, unless again that there is a new catalyst, and the one who have sustained and resisted the urge to panic sell, now you are rewarded because you are up 15% from the lows. So congratulations. Of course, you haven't recovered all your loss, but a significant part of your loss has recovered. But more importantly, you have actually teach yourself to be resilient. You have teach yourself to be a risk taker. So you have a resistance to risk. So you know you can take it. And that's more important than anything else. You have trained your mind to be strong. You have trained your mind to have the right mindset. If you bought at the VIX at the highest level, plus you didn't panic sell at the highest level, then you have passed one of the most important tests of the stock market investing over the medium and long term. And I congratulate you, all of you. You have be strong. So once again, please register or subscribe to this channel, like and leave a comment to help me build this community and to make money together. So hope to see you tomorrow, and thank you so much. Have a good evening.